All right, I'm going to go to YouTube and just go live, and then you can tell me.
How's it sound?
We're going live, and then I'm going to get Audition going. You're live right now. Audition.
Sure.
Audition is recording. I do see sound signature. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3BGB episode 30, in which, if you're not familiar with the show, we just talk out of our aces and mess with sound. And I found, like, honestly, our numbers on YouTube are pretty random, but I think when we have, if we have, like, bad sound out of the gate, people just, like, I'm not even going to, they just click right off, you know? So if you want to open up some YouTubers, if you're not familiar with the show, we just talk out of our aces. And
That's all the way. That's my volume all the way up.
all the way up.
Yeah.
So you think that's not, what if you put it at like 80%? Is it? Does it sound too loud? Are we blowing it out? We need to come down in the ATEM.
Just that we're doing this
I might
live
just come
sound
down
check right now.
one, just a little bit. Test. How's that right there?
It's delayed a little.
Yeah, it's delayed, but I want to blow it out. That's my big thing. I think it just gets too staticky. Anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. This is our holiday show. Think that sounds better? Yeah.
To me, it sounds good, and that's when I'm at 80%. So.
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all. You don't think that's blown out? This is our holiday show.
Sounds good. I mean, to me, it does. That's me personally. That music is wild, though.
The music is loud?
No. To me, it sounds good, and that's when I'm at 80%. So.
You don't think that's blown out?
What do you think it sounds like?
No. All right. Test 1, 2, 3.
All right, so we're gonna we're doing a live sound check.
All right. I think it's good.
I
think we're good. All the silence, people were like, were they actually, like, if you had to listen on Spotify, you'd be like, what in the F? But we don't care anyways. That's where it is. Get the Christmas music back. And we're kicking it. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday you choose. Ramadan. Pretty sure they do, like, Christmas in South Korea as well, too, so I'm not sure.
Some kind of holiday they got going on.
I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to talk internationally, but whatever you're doing this December, we hope you're having a good one. I'm calling this the Melancholy Show. I get up and I get downs, and I don't know what it is about this time of year. I understand it kind of like slows people down. Slows you down in your heart and your mind. It's a fun time of year, but also a little bit melancholy for me. But I've got a bunch of stuff on the roadmap, but I want you to tell me your roadmap first, because you got some really good stuff lined up for the show today, bud. Get some you got some Rays for me?
I gotta talk Rays. I gotta talk the 2008 World Series team, because it was also the 10th anniversary of the team that year.
They win it that year? They
No, they got swept. I think by St. Louis. I think it was.
Oh, the doggone Cardinals.
Also, there's a few off-season moves. They've had quite a few, but I just want to talk about my ones that I noticed that I want to. My favorite ones. If they're favorites, not really favorites, because
off-season move this year in 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Because we got rid of some people.
I got some hot stove talk too.
Yeah. I'm always looking at Rays stuff because that's, my team. So I try to pay attention to off-season moves and stuff. Who we got.
That's good. And then also, I'd like to just talk about your baseball card pull for any collectors that might be watching. You scored the mother load,
I
man.
had so many good cards in there. But
and what was the initial investment? It was an upper deck box and a score box.
Yeah, there was 3 boxes. One box from 1989.
That was the score. The score was the 89.
Yeah, and then 2 of them was 92. One was upper deck, and the other one I can't remember.
Oh man,
but
those are sweet.
Dude, they were so cheap. I think the most I paid for one box was $25, and there was like 600 something cards in there.
It's insane. Like, just what you showed me, and I know we'll go through it on the show, but you showed me a Randy Johnson score rookie with the Expos, and then you had a flippin' Pedro rookie with the Dodgers upper deck.
You know,
sick cards. I can't even remember how many sick cards in there. It's like Dickie Thon.
I have another one, too, where it's like a Pedro and his older brother together. Too.
That's nice.
I have a lot of good ones, but these are the ones that I brought were my favorite. They're biased picks because Dickie Thon is Dickie Thon.
Yeah.
One of my favorite players.
I love it. The other thing I'd say is let's run through our bump music for those listening, and then we can put out the hotline number too for the truck drivers.
It's on there right now too.
It's on the screen. If you're driving a truck, it's 210-401-7394. Again. 210-401-7394. If you did call, you'd be the first caller ever. I check our Magic Jack. The only person who calls it is me to check to see if it's working.
It'd be really cool if it's somehow those numbers can line up where 3BGB could be in there somehow.
So that'd be sweet. If we could do it. This is going to be our outro song for people wondering what the bumper music we're playing with.
Let me pull up my phone and see if I do keypad. Oh yeah, okay. So it's because I'm trying to figure out what letters line up with the numbers.
Yeah.
We can make up a word or something. So it's 7394.
You didn't have many options to pick. I picked 401 because I like the idea that somebody batted 401. I think Hornsby batted 400 a number of times. But I think one of those years was 401, and I don't know what 7394 is going to be. So Auld Lang Syne's one. This was our other. We got Jingle Bells. That's our Christmas music, but we got some other jams in here. Check out this one. Isn't that a funny one? Onward, we're gonna use that to bump into some segment.
That's an Irish one too, right? An Irish tune.
The Elf himself, something like that. It's a jam. I found that DeWolf, if you're looking for music that you don't have to just pay that one license fee, that's the way to go. They rip off everything, and it kind of sounds close.
But it's free.
Well, it ain't free actually, but you gotta pay. But
it's somewhat free. It's not like you're paying like $100.
This is like a Michael Bublé ripoff. It's beautiful.
What's that guy, Frank Sinatra?
Yeah.
You know what? This forever changed my opinion on Frank Sinatra.
Oh, Sinatra.
And this is the dumbest opinion probably ever.
Yeah. Turn that down.
So my whole life, I always thought Frank Sinatra wrote, and the song that he sang was the songs that he wrote. And once I found out that he was just a singer, not really much of a writer, it blew my mind. I was like, fucking no way. And so I was like, oh, so he's not as great as I thought he was. Okay, yes, he obviously can sing well.
Man.
I'm not saying he can't sing, but I was just like, oh, that's different.
Yeah, Golden Pipes, Sinatra. He was juiced in with the mob.
Yeah, him and
nobody could do New York. You had to be a guy from New York, like Sinatra, whatever.
What was it called? The Rat Pack, right? Like him and some other dudes.
Yeah, he was the king of the Rat Pack. So that's that one. This is like a little Michael Bublé ripoff.
Bublé is like the modern, what do you call it, a crooner, right? Those guys?
Yeah, because you had Harry Connick Jr. and Crooner, something.
Crooner.
I love those guys. Put you in the mood.
I really hope that if like the chat bots, the what do you call them, the fake people that show up, if you could answer that question, is it Crooner? I don't fucking know. I'm not a mob guy.
Yep. I don't know, like, if we would ever change our live stream time. I think it would be nice to do it, like, at night when there's, like, a Mexican League game that we're watching that we could, like, talk about as we're podcasting. Because I don't know, like, I'm assuming everybody's working right now. Just not us.
Normal people.
This is nice.
This is normal people's working hours, 9 to 5.
But, like, if you're a lawyer in your office, you're probably effing off.
Right. Filling out paperwork.
And here's the last bumper one we got. This is a little organ.
It's like at the baseball game, right?
Maybe that's the outro song.
I always tie organs in with baseball for some reason.
That's what I kind of picked it. I like the old organ music. But that's what we're going with right now. We can fade that down, and then I'll give my little roadmap. That's for episode 30, buddy.
That's what the guy or girl, whoever at the stadium is playing as everybody's leaving stadium, playing that Christmas tune as everybody's walking out. Like, safe, the drive home, this other shit that they say. Twitter, love it or hate it. There was one I saw it on Twitter where the organist got thrown out of a minor league baseball game. What for?
There was a bad call, and they started playing Three Blind Mice to make fun of the umpires. They got thrown out.
You know, being an umpire is probably one of the hardest jobs you can do because you get so much shit talked to you.
Yeah.
Things thrown at you, and if you're Angel Hernandez, well, good luck.
So here's my roadmap. There's a lot. I always got a lot. I don't know what I'll get to because I'll forget half of it. I would say the meatiest portion of, and I kind of work backwards. The meatiest portion of what I want to talk about is Hideo Nomo. I was a Hideo Nomo fan when he showed up in the States, but there's a lot there to unpack on how he contractually came to the United States before the actual NPB MLB posting system agreement was in place. He found a loophole to get out of Japan. And Nomo is one I talk about because he had such a weird, wicked wind-up. I'll play a video for people who will look on YouTube. There's just like the slow-mo of his crazy wind-up. And I found he played with the Rays, which I texted to you. I was like, that's crazy.
I should record us on this little flip video.
Yeah, record us for document it. Like, Dutch is always getting his hands on the coolest cameras, and he got, what year is that? You think that's like a...
These came out in like 2010 or 2011. It's literally a flip camera for the reason that you
It's like the size...
You literally point shoot, and then you flip out the USB.
Who's it made by?
It was made by Cisco. Originally,
Cisco? I didn't know they made hardware.
Yeah, originally it was made by Cisco. Then I think it was bought by another company, Digital Solutions or some shit like that.
Yeah. So
anyway,
Nomo's going to be a big part of me, but that's going to lead into a lot of NPB stuff. NPB hot stove, some really amazing baseball players coming to MLB next year from the NPB. But I got onto Nomo because his motion is so unique, and I can't even say I was in an argument. I just tweeted at Tom House. And for you guys who don't know who Tom House is, the dude's definitely, in my personal opinion, a baseball legend. He played Major League Baseball for a number of years, but he became really interested in the science of throwing a baseball, the physics and science of throwing a baseball. And I got tons of respect for Tom House. He was actually worked a lot with the Texas Rangers when Bobby Valentine was there, and then he worked closely with Nolan Ryan, and they were really into strength training, and like just they're kind of like, I don't know if they're the first ones, but they like Nolan Ryan just like throwing a football around. He's like, I like the fact that it's a bigger, heavier ball, and it makes the baseball seem smaller. But Tom House is what I would call a pitching guru. And he, does a lot of great things with, like, young ball players. But he tweeted, he's like, I've been telling young pitchers to just get rid of their windup altogether. It's totally unnecessary, and I don't really think anybody needs to do, like a windup. Just, like step and throw, essentially. He has his reasons for mechanics. But I was like, I kind of respectfully disagree on that. I was like...
No, I agree too, yeah.
Show them different... like there's like the classic windup. There's the Satchel Paige. I tweeted him a gif of Satchel doing the old windup. Like I was like, I think the windup, like Dontrell Willis, they're just dudes with weird, wacky windups, and I kind of think that's like part of the art of baseball, that individual style.
For me, it's not the windup so much. It's the adjustment of the hat, and that whole thing where you're like,
everybody's different, but Nomo, along with so many other pitchers, just have crazy... Nomo's windup was insane.
He had the high leg thing, right?
Well, he twisted back.
Yeah.
It was this tornado windup, as they called it. So I was like, I think there's like some individual artistic and style expression. So I would say, hey, let a guy know about different windups and different styles. If you want to teach no windup, let the young player decide for himself what maybe feels best to him. I wouldn't coach it out of him, because I think a windup is a very cool part of baseball, and everybody's got a different hitting stance.
No, I agree. It's cool, man.
But he didn't. He was like, "Whatever, you're a nobody," which I am, and he never really replied to my tweets.
He literally replied, "You're a nobody. What do you know?"
Well, he asked me, he's like, "Why is a windup the art of baseball?" So I go, Luis Tiant, Dontrell Willis, Hideo Nomo, Satchel. Like, there's so many guys. Dan Quisenberry, underhand, like basically submarine. There's just a lot of weird windups out there, and I think it's. There's just. It's part of the art of the game, in my opinion. So I tweeted at him this slow mo, and I'll show the slow mo of Nomo, which rhymes. I'm a poet. I didn't even know it, but it was gorgeous. It's a thing of beauty, and I never heard back from him. It didn't hurt my feelings, but I was like, man, that's why I started going down the Nomo rabbit trail, and I'll talk a lot about him today.
I love the windups, like I was saying, with the adjustment of the hats. The people who get the pictures where you've seen the pictures before, like where they get the glove and they kind of like with the ball and they kind of just stand there and they adjust it for like ever. They just standing there, just taking their time, pissing the people off. But now that's going away because okay, you only have so many seconds to throw it.
Let me go. Actually, I can go like this, and then I can do the OBS share screen or however that works. You do
You mentioned the Rangers earlier. Didn't the Rangers at one point have Greg Maddox's brother as their pitching coach?
Yeah.
I think at one point.
I don't know. I don't do that. I do display capture. This is where you get all the like that when you go. But check this out.
Like that was like the universe of
yeah. So here's Nomo in slow motion. It's a thing of beauty. He steps way back, cocks his hands way over his head, old school.
See, that,
like there's no need to do that, but it looks awesome.
That was one of the things I remember about him was like that arm thing right there. That was a really
totally
cool.
Stretched out. But then watch like this leg kick, and he like completely turns his back and knee like he's just like height like kind of look how far back, like that's crazy. And then
it makes it look like he's gonna throw like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
And then he's just coming at you. Whoosh. That's just amazing.
It's like a wind-up toy. Like he's winding himself up and then like just swinging it really fast.
So that's the whole. I got to turn off display capture because you get that. So that was kind of like my reply to Tom House. It's neither here nor there, but I went down the rabbit hole on Hideo Nomo, and that led to all sorts of things with Japanese baseball. So that's kind of my roadmap, Hideo Nomo. I can also talk about a little bit about Coach Mike Leach, rest in peace. Just a class act dude, kind of a great guy. I have a tiny mini Mike Leach story. I met him at Atlanta Airport, but I want to talk about your baseball cards. I'm being sued by the city of San Antonio for using too much water in the summer. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the courtroom.
What are they suing? Like what?
I got a little citation here. It says I have to appear January and argue about my water use, which I'm going to do.
Do I need to bring my camera and record this for content?
I don't even think you can get in the courtroom.
No,
but,
I can't. I can't. It wouldn't let me in.
But there's a constitutional challenge. I'm just going to show up. Like most people probably like, I'll go online, pay the bill. But because I've been missing the courtroom, I was like, I'm definitely going to show up.
You want to argue.
I want to see how they present the evidence because they probably, they don't expect a lawyer to be the guy that got the citation maybe, so they're just not ready for that. So I was like, I want to see.
Not argue, debate. You want to
debate? Yeah. Well, I want to see how the city presents the evidence because if it's just like a lawyer and he doesn't have anybody from like the water municipality ready to go, like he's gonna be like, okay, here's the document of his water usage, and I'll be like, okay, I object to this evidence. I want to authenticate it, and he's got no witness to authenticate it. I was like, okay, I'm asking this be thrown out
because
I don't want to pay the bill.
From my point of view, and your point of view, because you were a lawyer, isn't witnesses everything? Without witnesses, you can't really.
Well,
right?
I'll give you an example. One guy who's personal hero. We should do an entire show on this guy, and I think he was a lawyer too. So if you remember,
Matlock.
There was Matlock's the greatest show of all time. My dad used to watch that.
Goddamn lawyer boy.
I've seen so many Matlock episodes.
Yeah, growing up with my grandparents.
So much
I've
Matlock.
seen a lot of Matlock. I've seen a shit ton of Perry Mason.
Oh. Well, I see way more Matlock than Perry Mason. I've probably seen like 5 Perry Masons. I've probably seen 700 Matlocks.
I remember watching Matlock with my grandparents. I'm like, this guy's good.
This guy is such a good lawyer.
Like, I'm like, man, I don't even have a reason to go to court, but I just want to go to court and hire this guy. Call like a lawyer company. Is Matlock working today? You know that was like an actor on TV, right? No, he wasn't.
Dude,
he was a real lawyer.
Show.
And he changed my life.
One of the guys who acted in that just passed
Andy
away
Griffith,
recently.
right,
well,
yeah.
no, not him, but there's a.
But that was him, right? Andy Griffith, yeah.
Yeah, Andy Griffith, but an actor from Matlock and some other stuff passed away recently. But no, so this guy, like, remember red light tickets? You'd like drive through the light. They'd snap a picture of your license plate and they just like mail you the ticket.
I got one of those in Leon Valley, last year.
So they give you like, and then you like show up to court and you want to argue, and there's like nobody there, and it's like. this camera's good. It's just right. Look, there's your picture. There's a red light. There's a ticket.
And I love to argue, too. I'm one of those people.
So the problem you have with that is there is a constitutional amendment where you are allowed to confront your accuser, right? So some lawyer, I think in Arizona probably, because they have more red light tickets than anyway, said, yeah, that's great. I know you got the picture. I want to argue with the guy that took the picture or who calibrated the machine, or like I want to confront my accuser. This is a constitutional violation. And of course, you always get thrown out in like municipal court because they don't know what to do with the constitutional argument. They're like, whatever, you lose. So then he appeals. It's like district, same thing, appeals. And he actually took the time, I think, to appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court. I'd have to find the case, but it was a red light ticket guy. And they finally says, like, no, dude, red light cameras are not constitutional, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I know it's got messed with it, and there's a lot less red light cameras now because of that very reason that you have the right to confront your accuser. So the same thing, I'm going to play that game. I just want to see how the city's presenting the water evidence. So they're like, okay, you use this much. Here's your water meter. I was like, okay, well, I want to talk to the guy that read the meter. And if he's not in a court, I'll be like, all right, well, I object. This is a violation of the Constitution.
I would be that guy that would argue everything. So how I got my ticket was, like, you know when you're turning right at the red light, you're supposed to come to like a complete stop. Well, I didn't come to a complete stop. I kind of did, but apparently according to the light, I didn't. Yeah. And my reasoning was, well, nobody was fucking coming from the other side, so why do I need to like stop for like 5 seconds when there's nobody coming? And then people are like, well, that's like my wife was like, well, it's the rules. It doesn't take that big a deal to stop for 5 seconds. I'm like, yeah, but nobody was coming. Yeah. I'll argue I always like to argue, even when I know that like I probably won't win.
Yeah, so, and this is the loopholes that probably going to be. The Sixth Amendment provides in all criminal prosecutions that accusers shall enjoy the right to be confronted with the witnesses against them. So there might be like kind of a little loophole. There's so much weird stuff in the law because like Texas, abortion's a hot topic, obviously, for everybody. Yeah. But you can't, like, the rights of your body and the way the Constitution is written, Texas created a civil. It's very different. Criminal and civil are two very wildly different things in the Constitution. So they created a civil right in Texas where you as a private citizen, if I find out Miss So-and-so's getting an abortion, not that I'm going to do this, but you could. I was like, oh, she went and got an abortion. I'm going to file a civil suit against her for killing another human being, and I'm going to get like $100,000 or whatever. So that's a civil case, and that doesn't really run afoul of the Constitution on its face. It's a very novel way that Texas is trying to like get anti-abortion. The same way when I go and fight my water case, I'll be like, hey, I want to, who's accusing me of using too much water? They're like, bro, not criminal. Civil case. We're suing you for money because you used too much water in the summer filling up my pool because my pool had a leak, and I'm probably going to lose. But anyway, legal, I digress. So I'm talking about Nomo. I'm talking about Alfonso Soriano. I'm talking about NPB. There is actually a Dominican Academy. A lot of Major League teams have them. One NPB team has it, as far as I know. I'm going to talk about Wally Yonamine, if I'm saying that name right. Huge pioneer in the NPB, an American, Japanese-American from Hawaii. Already talked pretty much about my water case. Talk a little bit about Mike Leach. I want to talk about skateboarding. I got a quarter pipe. I've almost killed myself like 5 times.
Look, we all can't be Bucky Lassick.
And then I got Masataka Yoshida going to the Red Sox, and Kodai Senga got signed by the Mets, and that's kind of your hot stove. So that's my.
The Rangers too. They signed Grom or whatever from the Mets.
DeGrom.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit of hot stove, but that's kind of my roadmap for today, buddy.
Also, Verlander went to the Mets. I saw
Verlander. Yeah, I kind of saw it. Like, I don't know, like nobody in Houston's complaining, but I was like, dude, the guy's married to a supermodel.
I know someone that's complaining. I'm not going to mention who they are, but I know someone who's complaining, and I think it's funny. Anyway.
Well, I mean, your wife's a supermodel. She wants to move to New York. Are you kidding me? I mean, Houston's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, that's probably she's like, dude, end of your career, time to.
She told me we're moving to New York. I was like, okay, sure.
I was like, that's what we're doing. So that's kind of the roadmap. I don't know if you want to bump it in. What do you want to go with first? I'd love for you to just like open it up with some 2008 Rays.
If you
And
want,
I'm gonna pull up the 2008 Rays. Let me give you some bumper music.
Here's what I remember about a funny thing is like at the time I was working overnight, and so we had to go into work. I forgot what time it was, but it was like 10 o'clock, so the game was still being played sometimes. And so like when I was at work, I had my Zune music player, and I had the radio station, and I would be listening to the last of the couple innings of the game at work. But dude, that team was great. Like that's one of my favorite Rays teams of all time.
Oh wait, let's take a look at it.
If you look at the pitching staff that year, dude, they were studs. Like everybody, like starters, relievers, closers, like you know what I'm saying?
Let's take a look here at them 2008 Rays. 2008 Tampa Bay Rays. 97-65. That's when Joe Madden, wearing his black rim glasses, won the AL Championship Series over the Red Sox, and then won the Division Series over the White Sox. So the White Sox don't go to the playoffs that much, but they did that year.
Like here's some of the starting pitchers like James Shields, Matt Garza, Scott Kazmir, fucking studs. J.P. Howell coming out of the.
Kazmir was nasty. Garza.
J.P. Howell coming out of the to relieve him and stuff.
Troy Percival was on that team. That was an older Troy Percival, right? What was his age? He was 38 then.
And of course, one of my favorite Rays players ever, and players in general, Carl Crawford. He was a stud, dude.
Chad Bradford was on that team.
Yeah, dude. They had a lot of good players.
There's some dudes.
B.J. Upton.
Zobrist was such a clutch hitter.
Zobrist
was a tough out, man.
He was like Matt Stairs. We would play any position. He played like all over the game.
He seemed like a really. I want to see his postseason batting that year. Zobrist was like impossible to get out in the postseason.
And of course, you can't forget Evan Longoria.
Longoria's legend. Postseason batting in 08 for Zobrist. Oh, what am I talking about? No, he did. He played against Boston. I'm just dreaming it up. He wasn't like impossible to get out. He had a lot of walks now. One of those years he went off, man. He was impossible to get out. It was like 2015. Chicago. Oh, it was with the Cubs, man. He was trouble with the Cubs.
One of my favorite players on that team too was was it second baseman, third base? Yeah, second baseman. I can never pronounce this dude's name, but his name was like Akinori Iwamura, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
If you remember him, that was one of my favorite players. Like to me, like I liked him a lot.
Yeah, that guy was a little scrapper, right?
Yeah. And that's why I liked him, because he was like a baseball guy. He wasn't like a star.
He just dubbed it.
He wasn't like a superstar, but he was good, right?
I can't believe he hit 6 home runs with that swing. He had 30 doubles that year. That's a lot for a second baseman.
Like this team was built to like play in the World Series.
Let's look at Akimura.
You can't forget Rocco Baldelli. You know that guy.
Yep.
Cool. Like everybody on this team was studs, man. Cliff Floyd.
Was 5'9", 200 pounds. Let's look at his Japanese. Where did you guys get him from? That leads very well to know. He was the Yakult Swallows. He came over. Must have posted. Oh, no, I bet he did his 9 years and did free agency, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he did his time, served his sentence. I'm joking, but, like, you're not allowed to be a free agent until 9 years. So that's what he did. Then he went to the Rays. Just a good hitter in NPB, 300 hitter.
That was a year that we had a young David Price.
What?
So.
No way.
What? Are you stunned over there? Or are you quiet?
So Akinori Iwamura, 5'9", 200 pounds. Check this out. If I'm reading Baseball Reference right. So when he goes to Rays in 2008, here's his numbers in 2008. Hit 274. This is 152 games, so almost a full season.
Yeah.
6 dingers, 48 bibbies, 30 doubles. So contact guy. He struck out actually a lot. So there's that. But check out his home run numbers. Some of these years with Yakult. 2004. 2004 with Yakult Swallows. Akinori Iwamura, 5'9", 44 bombs. 44 bombs
for a little guy.
103 bibbies.
5'9".
Yeah, more bombs than doubles. The next year he hit 30 bombs and 31 doubles. The freaking 967 OPS.
I'm telling you, dude, this guy's a fucking legend. This guy's a legend.
The dude's a legend. Dude, he had 35 bombs one year. for Yakult 24. I don't know if Yakult swallows a porch or what, but this dude's going yard. Like, he never, like, the most homers he ever hit in the show, in the majors was 16. Dang.
He's like,
I was just figuring, like, middle infielder, second baseman. He got him for his glove and contact. I think, yeah, that's crazy. Like, he probably led the league with 44. I mean, that's crazy. The record over there was 55. 56, I mean, now it's like 60 because of Vladimir Valentin, but for a Japanese-born player, it was just Murakami did it this year, 56.
And
wow.
He was a legend, man.
2008 Rays is a fun rabbit hole, man. That's a crazy team. So you had Ketchen was Donier Navarro, solid year. Carlos Pena at first, great professional hitter.
About Pena, like later on in his career, he became the guy who was either swinging to hit a home run or swinging to strike out. Later on in his career,
yeah.
But for a while, when especially with this year, he was a stud.
Yeah,
he did a lot of designated hitter too sometimes.
But that's a great team. You had Pena. Then you had Iwamura, Bartlett was your shortstop, Longoria at third, Crawford in left, total stud, B.J. Upton, great ball player, great baseball family. Gabe Gross, you kind of forget him, played 127 games in right field, and then Cliff Floyd was y'all's DH.
We also had Johnny Gomes, man. Johnny
Gomes. You had Eric Hinsky, played a ton. I guess he was outfielder. He kind of like platooned, hit 20 bombs. Willie Abar, he came over from the Angels at some point. Zobrist, Johnny Gomes. I love Johnny Gomes. I love him when he was the Red Sox. Baldelli. Who else you have in there? Some dudes, man.
Scott Kazmir should have been like a great pitcher. He was, but unfortunately, when he went to the Angels, I think like after this team, he started getting hurt. But he could have been like a greatest of all time.
Percival was still basically y'all's closer at age 38, 28 saves.
Yeah.
And then Wheeler.
J.P. Howe was like our best reliever.
2008 Rays.
We my friend and I would go when the Rays would come to Texas to play the Rangers.
Yeah.
We would always be like J.P. Howe, like howling like a wolf. It was cool.
I kind of want to look at Ryu because you have Korean guys too. I was like across the Pacific Rim here. So Jae-Kook Ryu, South Korean guy. I just want to see what he did in the KBO. He's a pitcher. Who did he come from? Because those KBO teams, I don't know. I want to show that.
But the only thing that sucks about the Rays is like we're a small market team, so when we have studs, we can't keep them all. You know?
Yeah.
And it sucks because like a lot of times they don't want to stay. Like, you know what I mean?
That's funny. So Ryu went straight to Major League Baseball. He didn't come out of KBO first. He was like an 18-year-old and got signed by the Cubs, and then after Major League is when he went back and played for the LG Twins in Seoul. So that's kind of crazy. He played up to 2000. He still played as recently as 2019. So 3 years ago, he was still playing KBO. Crazy stuff. I like that.
And that was the 10-year anniversary of the team too that year. So way to celebrate making it to the World Series. I know we lost, but like that's fine. Like we made it, dude, and I'm happy that we made it.
The Trop.
We lost to the Phillies.
Playing at the Trop, buddy.
That's what it was, the Phillies.
Yeah.
That's when they had what was that badass first baseman, Ryan Howard?
Ooh, Howard was crazy. He dropped off. I don't know if it was elbow injuries or
his ankle.
Ankle.
Something on his leg, and I guess after that he was never the same. I guess he never recovered fully to, come back and be a beast. But yeah, I mean, for a while he was a badass.
That's a crazy team. Well, speaking of...
he was one of the most feared hitters, dude, for a while.
Iwamura. Should I go into my Nomo segments?
I would. Speaking of Nomo, he was a Rays towards the end of his career.
Yeah, Nomo played for the Rays. But Hideo Nomo, so interesting of a story. There's so much, especially because I've gone completely down the rabbit hole with you. And this being our 30th episode, tons of the MPB, and I've turned to many different leagues. I've turned to many different leagues in my disdain for Major League Baseball after the institution of the Universal DH. And it's been a ton of fun learning about all these guys. And I knew about Nomo. I remember when he came to States in '95 because I had just graduated. I was going to JUCO.
You graduated high school in '95?
I also want to give, you can like cite your references. Bill Staples Jr. This is like a SABR guy, Society of American Baseball Research dude. Did a bio on Hideo Nomo. It was phenomenal. It's so good. It's so good. But Hideo Nomo, his name actually means like hero, which is kind of crazy. It means literally translate to excelling man. And this is all from Bill Staples' bio. And he's probably not going to make at least the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but his impact as an ambassador of baseball is unbelievable. And then we'll talk a little bit later about this guy, Wally, if I could say it right, Yonamine, who was kind of like an ambassador in the other direction from the U.S. to Japan, like back in the 50s. But Nomo's from Osaka, born in 1968. Name literally means like excelling man, but it's commonly understood in Japanese to mean Superman or hero. Isn't that great?
He's a hero in my eyes.
And this is kind of like where I get sideways with dudes that are just teaching kids to pitch just one way. This is how he came up with his windup. He started playing baseball at age 5, and by the time he was 12, his dream was to become a professional baseball player. He personally, no coach, he personally came up as a 5th grader with his tornado windup, the crazy windup we watched the slow-mo of. He's
with the arms above the head thing.
Yeah, he came up with that to impress his father and to fool batters. That's what he said. That's like a quote from him. He goes, by twisting my body and using this force, I was able to throw harder, and at the same time with that motion, it would be difficult for batters to pick up the ball. So that's like Nomo. And just to show like how, I mean, you can't say it's wrong if you took it to the Major League Baseball and won Rookie of the Year and did all this stuff. I mean, you were awesome in the NPB, but he had a high school coach or something in Japan who was like, you're never going to make it. Not with that windup. And he just like, I'm not going to listen to anybody. I like my windup. I came up with it. And that youth coach or whatever says, you're not going to make it. And he went to... in Osaka, there's like different high schools, I guess. I don't know if you could pick or how that works, but he went to like a lesser known baseball high school program.
I was said, whoever told me I wasn't going to make it, I played 12 years in the Major League, so I don't know what you were talking about, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, so he went to this high school, Seiyo Industrial High School, and he dominated, even pitched a perfect game in high school, but didn't get drafted out of high school. And, I mean, I think this is a little bit what Bobby Valentine was talking about, why NPB needs more minors in a larger draft. But he didn't get picked up. And so what he did, played in one of our favorite leagues, Industrial League.
Oh, with the company names?
That's right. He went to a company team.
Dude, that's like the coolest thing. Like, who do you play for? I play for Toyota.
Yeah, I play for Nissan, man.
Yeah.
So he joined, didn't get drafted, joined the Shin Nitsu.
It's hard to say,
Sakai,
buddy.
A company-sponsored club in the semi-pro industrial leagues, and that's where, because he was kind of wild, I guess. Like he threw way hard, but he was kind of wild, and he perfected his corkscrew motion in the industrial league for that year. And check this out. This is also a really neat thing about Nomo. He was so dedicated to mastering the forkball grip that at night before going to sleep, he would tape a tennis ball between his index and middle fingers, so he'd just sleep with his fingers all spread out because he wanted to have like the best forkball grip ever.
Makes sense, man.
Dude was dedicated, man. He just loved baseball.
It's like people who play bass. We would take these hand machines and like use them to get our fingers strong and stuff for the bass. It's the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, so
that was kind of a weird random tangent.
But he did. He had a nasty forkball. That's why he was a high strikeout guy. But so then he's on the industrial team, but he earned a spot on Team Japan, which the 1988 Olympics were in Seoul, and they had baseball, and he was nasty. I think they got the silver medal that year. And after that year with the Olympic team, he received offers from all 8 teams in the NPB. Like nobody's there. Like that was a record. And he signed what's now the Oryx Buffaloes, but it was the Osaka-based Kinetsu Buffaloes, and basically $1 million signing bonus. But he had them guarantee They wouldn't change his pitching motion. So take that, all these coaches that are saying you got to do it this way or take out the windup.
Dude, as long as the person whoever has weird motions, is they're being successful, who cares?
Yeah.
It's working, isn't it?
Let them try. Let them experiment.
Yeah.
You never know. You might come up with a Nomo.
Because if that was the case, Craig Counsell would have never played. They'd be like, yeah, you can't be doing that. You can't be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If people try to tell people how to do their stances or whatever, because, dude, there's some weird-ass ones, but it works.
Yeah.
If it, like I said,
I don't like it when it's weird. Makes it.
I do too. It's kind of cool.
Weird batting stances. I love that stuff. It's part of the fabric of the game. If everybody pitched the same or looked the same, it wouldn't be as much fun.
No, exactly.
So
if the guy wants to have his back turned to the pitcher, hits it.
That's awesome.
It works.
Just take a look at our batting video. You had some very unorthodox hitting things that you were teaching me, and I was trying to fight it, and I've found that a lot of it worked. If I just opened my mind.
By trade or trait, whatever the phrase is, Dutch is a relief pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, I've hit some balls in my day.
You know a lot. You know a lot, buddy.
I mean, you obviously played pro baseball technically, and I didn't, but, you know.
Oh, man.
There's always, even if you're an expert in your field, you can always learn something.
It's a tough season in the Texas Law League back in them days.
Would you agree, though?
What's that now?
I was like, because you were talking about, like, you know, learning stuff. You may be an expert in something, but you can always learn
You can always learn. Don't ever close that mind off.
So
there's not just one way to do things.
I mean, I taught you the Texas Gator. You taught me the Granville Slam, and I was like, it works.
It's the way it goes. Cross-pollination, buddy. Bumblebees sharing from flower to flower. So now Nomo's NPB, and he's lights out, dude. He's nasty. He's like the nastiest thing. He's Rookie of the Year, most valuable player, and won the Sawamura Award, which is basically their Cy Young. So he's in the Pacific League. His nickname is the Tornado, Tatsumaki. If you ever see that at a sushi restaurant, the Tatsumaki, there's a lot of sushi rolls many times named the Tornado. Just think of Hideo Nomo.
Not a big sushi guy.
But he bonded with his teammate by the name of Masato Yoshi, and he was a veteran pitcher and took Nomo under his wing, and he shared Nomo's like, I think I can make it in Major League Baseball. And at this time in Japan, there wasn't these NPB guys coming here. That was like not a thing. There was like way back, I think, like in the 60s, the first Japanese dude that played in the NPB had some kind of like working agreement and pitched for the Giants, and he was lights out. If I can find the name of this gentleman, he was really, really good. Masanori Murakami, and that was, what year was that? Masanori Murakami. I don't know. I think it was the 60s. I'd have to look up. Let me see if I can open that in a new link. But he came to the Giants, and he was technically the first Japanese guy to be playing Major League Baseball. And he was actually at really good numbers with the Giants, but they kind of got into like an argument. Yeah, 64-65 with the Giants was Masanori. But there's like a working agreement with his team back in Japan, the Nankai Hawks. And so even though he had really good numbers in the 60s with the Giants, the commissioner came in and says, we're not going to fight with this Japanese league. You pitch some of the season for the Giants, and then that's it. You got to go back to Japan. So he's like, all right. And then that was it from the 60s all the way until 95. And Nomo has got this teammate and some Major League All-Stars like Randy Johnson, who we're going to talk about today with your baseball cards, and some other All-Stars like Ken Griffey. Like, these dudes came over and played like this series in Japan, which I think the Japanese won, in no small part to the fact that Nomo is absolutely nasty. And Nomo talked to Randy Johnson at some like private party, and Randy Johnson was like, dude, you're nasty. You belong in the major leagues. Like, that's just impossible to hit. And so based on Randy Johnson and some other dudes and his performance against the Major League All-Stars, he's like, I can do it. I can make it to the major leagues. Japanese dudes don't do this nowadays. And he got this agent. He's like, find me a way how is it possible for me to go play in that league? And he researched the NPB contracts, and he found that you could retire. It's not the posting system. It's not where you have to be posted. That wasn't in place at that time. If he officially retired from the NPB, he's out of his contract, and now he's just a free person in the world to do what he wants. And that's what he did. So he retired from the NPB. If you look at Nomo's stats, he did. I got to show the Japanese league. I've seen how many years he did for Kinetsu Buffalo. So he did 5 years. He did 5 years. It's interesting. He actually, a lot of teams talked to him, signed with the Dodgers, but he actually signed with the San Antonio Missions. He signed a minor league contract with like $1 million signing bonus. So it's like, how great would have that been? Like Pedro played for the Missions, but even though he signed a contract, he didn't play here. So
that $1 million, was it? He got to keep that, or what was that his?
Yeah. So he got the signing bonus, but he went to spring training, I guess, nominally as a member of the San Antonio Missions at spring training, and Dodgers saw there. They're like, we like what we see, and I think he just pitched like one game, like 5 innings in Bakersfield. And I guess that's maybe they just put him in Bakersfield A-ball because he was so close to L.A. and then called him right up. So then he's with the Dodgers, and he wins Rookie of the Year. I think he leads the league in strikeouts as a rookie and just nastiness. Nomo, interesting statistics I didn't maybe know or I didn't remember. So now he's in the pros. Only guy ever to throw a no-hitter at Coors Field.
Oh, the Rockies Stadium.
Right? Hitter-friendly park.
That's hard. That's
right?
so hard.
Like,
that's
you just pop one up, it's going out of there.
That's why a lot of those players that play for the Rockies suck on the road.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of offense there. Some of those dudes could, like Matt Holliday and other dudes are like, when you leave, what will your numbers be?
Trevor Story, he's a good one.
But like Nolan Arenadondo's shown that he could do it. Like, I think if you're a ball player, you're a ball player. But people are like, nobody's ever going to throw a no. He's like the only guy still that's ever thrown a no hitter in Coors Field. It's kind of a crazy feat.
That's why when pitchers have shitty games at that place, I don't look at them like, oh, they're terrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it's hard to pitch there because like you could touch it with your finger and it would fly into the infield.
Yeah. That's crazy, but it was a big deal. So when he actually debuted at Candlestick Park against the Giants, only like 16,000 people were paid to see the Hideo Nomo debut because they're like, whatever, like
that's only 16,000 people showed up.
But millions of people in Japan were watching it.
Well,
it's like 5 o'clock in the morning there. But like the entire nation was like, let's see what Nomo does.
Jacked up on,
dude, they're so psyched to see how this Japanese like NPB player is going to do it in the States, and he did awesome. It was such a huge deal.
Japan is so hyped on baseball. It's insane.
Oh man. So
like we wouldn't I don't think America would be as hyped as if an American player debuted, like a rookie American player debuted in another country's league. I don't think we'd be as hyped.
Yeah. As
other countries are about their players coming here to play.
Man, oh man. But that's some interesting stuff about his career. A good career. Like, he wasn't like, I don't know if he ever won the Cy Young, but he won Rookie of the Year for sure. And was just nasty. He had an injury, and I didn't also know this. He made one All-Star game, and that was just his first year. And after that, he only one-time All-Star and Rookie of the Year. But
that's all you need.
Loved the number 11. He pitched better when he had a coach he liked, and he wore number 11. But Scott Rowland hit a line drive up the middle that hit him in the forearm.
Scott Rowland. That
kind of messed him up. And it's funny, too, because like after he got hit by that line drive, he would always bean Rowland. He hit batsmen. He hit Rowland more than anybody else after that line drive hit him in the arm. And they were like, why did you just bean in Rowland now? He's like, no, I'm just trying to come inside to him. I don't want him to get a sweet pitch like that one again. So Nomo was probably beating him, which is great. But Nomo, man, what a competitor. So he did that. Then he got kind of like bounced around, played with a bunch of teams that you forget about. Goes from the Dodgers, and his ERA is starting to creep up. Then he goes to the Mets. does some minor league time. Milwaukee signs him, and he does really good in Milwaukee. 12-8.
That was like, as far as wins and losses, that was one of his best years.
Yeah, I mean, it's 16-11. He had some good years. Then he goes to Detroit. Still had good strikeouts, good velocity. He goes to Boston after Detroit in 2001.
That's where I remember him from the most was Boston.
I think, and that's where he threw another no-hitter. So he's got 2 no-hitters, and he threw it against Baltimore. And there was an interesting fact because there's only 5 guys who have thrown no-hitters in both leagues.
Was that 2001? That wasn't the year when they had Nomar Garcia-Parra, was it?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Because they was like, hey, Noma, hit a homer.
Yeah. He,
dude, those were like, those early 2000s fucking Red Sox had a lot of legendary players.
They had some dudes.
I remember like staying up and watching their World Series run, and I wasn't even a Boston fan. It was just the baseball aspect of it that was like, kept me up because they had David Ortiz, you know?
Yeah.
And it was cool because they were trying to break this 100-year streak of not, you know, making it to a World Series because of that fucking curse or whatever. And so it was fucking cool.
Man.
Anyway, I don't know. I just started going that little.
No, I love
there.
that stuff. Go on. That's what this show's about.
Tangent. Yeah, I just remember I was like so hyped on that team. They had Kurt Schilling and all those, you know, players. Anyway,
Man, it's a shame Garcia-Parra didn't win the World Series because it was like the year after he was gone. He went to the Cubs.
Because he was Mr. Red Sox for a while.
He was, man. He was the face of that franchise. But Nomo was there, and if Nomo would have stayed, he would have got the World Series ring too. But he left because they won it in 2004, I think, and he left. He was there in 2003. Boston, 2001. No, I guess if he would have signed the long-term contract. They wanted him for like a 3-year contract, but he didn't sign it. He went back to the Dodgers. But Cy Young, Jim Bunning, Nolan Ryan, and Nomo, only pitchers at that time to throw a no-hitter in both leagues. Randy Johnson eventually joined in 2005. So really only 6 dudes have done that.
Speaking of Randy Johnson, you know Randy Johnson has a record that no one's ever going to break?
No, it's only 5 dudes. What's that?
You know Randy Johnson's record is Willing a Bird.
Killing it. Yeah, nobody's going to get that one.
That was just like fucking crazy, dude. He's like coming down there and throwing that fucking ball and pow right in the bird. I was like, holy shit. That'll never happen again.
That's crazy. But so he goes from Boston back to the Dodgers, bounces around, but then he was like really having arm problems, his velocity down. They did some like rotator cuff stuff to get some bone chips out of there. It's like he had an 8 earned run average, and I'm getting my SABR certification. Earned run average is not a good metric, but highest earned run average for somebody with 15 qualifying starts in a season ever. Kind of crazy. But then the Yankees took a flyer on him. He did some minor league time there, and then he pops up with the Devil Rays in 2005.
Probably the best team he could have played for.
And Lou Piniella was managing at that time.
I love Lou Piniella, man. Fucking taking bases out of the ground, throwing them and stuff.
Oh, man, he was great. And let's see here when he was with the Rays. So he was he got to 200 wins. I want to say
those were the years where we were just absolute garbage.
Defeated the Rays. Yeah, so he did. He got his 200th win with the Rays. That's a big deal.
Of course.
For the mega Rays.
Especially when the team was a complete dumpster fire at that point.
Yeah. So
but we slowly started getting better because, like I said,
it's called the Golden Players Club, and known in Japan as the Mekyukai, if I'm saying that right. The membership of the Mekyukai is automatic for position players with 2,000 hits and pitchers with 200 victories. Nomo's win made him the 45th member of the Golden Players Club and only the 16th pitcher in Japan.
It's called the Golden Club?
The Golden Club.
Does that mean because he was a 45th entry, he got 45 gold bars?
That'd be sweet, though. Probably.
Congratulations,
I think they should institute that. So that's kind of a cool little Tampa Bay factoid for you there. He got his 200th win with Tampa Bay. But so that's kind of a look at him. It was very cool. If you look at 07, 08, this is like after he's having all these arm problems, he shows up in the Venezuelan League, and I got the little logo up here. And the reason he was in the Venezuelan League, which is like kind of a bit of a stretch, was because his catcher, when he was with the Dodgers, where is it here? He showed up. It was I can't find it, but but he did. His catcher when he was with the Dodgers early on, Carlos Hernandez. His friendship with Carlos Hernandez was down in, and so he went down there, tried to rehab some stuff, eat some donut holes, and he did a year, and he did not do well. He's still having arm issues. And then the Royals, he pitched 4 innings for in 2008, and that was the end of the game. That was the end of the road for Hideo Nomo. But his legacy on that, the fact that this dude could retire from the NPB and come to the States was a huge problem for NPB guys because obviously they're not getting any posting money. Like right now, the posting fees, that goes to Yomiuri Giants. They get the money.
Yeah, the team,
in Hideo Nomo's situation, they get nothing. The Buffaloes got jack diddly. But it wasn't Nomo. It was one year later, Alfonso Soriano. Now,
I remember him. Yeah.
But this is so weird. I always remember Alfonso Soriano as a second baseman with major pop for the Yankees.
And I know he played for the Rangers too for a while.
I mean, Soriano, if you look at his stuff, like he's in the 400. He's in the 400 club.
He was a good player though.
Dude, 400 homers is unbelievable, but the crazy part about him, he's from the Dominican, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, why?
He was another little guy. He wasn't very big.
Yeah, if you look at the kind of like the history of the NPB posting system and how that agreement came in place with Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball and the NPB, it was really Hideo and Alfonso Soriano. And I was like, that dude's so far from Japan, I don't know what to tell you. There is one, right?
Nothing to say.
There is one, because like Rangers have a Dominican academy. Some of these dudes have Venezuelan academies. So Major League Baseball is building these academies, trying to get their hands on this.
Wasn't it Profar? Was he Dominican? No.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're not in like Latin America and South America,
Elvis Andrews.
So many of these guys.
Maybe, right? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's like I mean, you got to do the research to figure out, like, because like Altuve is Venezuela, but like Bautista is Dominican Republic. But if you're a smart organization, you have the money, you build an academy in these countries and develop young players. Well, the NPB,
because history shows they've got some studs.
They can play some baseball, but the NPB does not have that, with the exception of one single team whose hat I am wearing. The Hiroshima Carp. The Hiroshima Carp have a Dominican academy, believe it or not. I did not know that. You find some new baseball information. So, and I think it was like the Yakult Swallows or somebody else has, like, maybe it's like SoftBank. SoftBank's like a team with a lot of money. The Fukuoka somebody has an academy in Brazil, which I thought was a little bit random because they're more soccer. But a few of the NPB teams have foreign academies, and the Hiroshima Carp have one in the Dominican, and that's why they signed an 18-year-old Alfonso Soriano. And so he played for that Japanese academy, but the Japanese baseball culture is very different from American baseball culture in a lot of ways. One of the ways is it's very disciplined, militaristic. You can't play enough baseball, just like kind of beat you down. So Soriano was like a real prospect. He was like 19. I'm sure they were playing like other teams. The Dominican and Major League Baseball was like hot and heavy. We got to get this kid. And so he was like, how do I get out of this NPB contract? Because technically he was in one while in the Dominican. Same thing. Hideo Nomo playing, just retire. So at the age of 19, Soriano goes, I'm retiring from the NPB.
I'm done.
And so then he like signed a major league contract and did all that. And the NPB dudes said, no. So when Nomo did that, we changed the writing. We went in there and took our little eraser and pen and says, no, you're not allowed to do that. I'm trying to see exactly what it said. The way they changed the language here with, where is it? It's Chipper. I didn't get there. But Soriano And so it turned into kind of like a fight between, and I think Seelig was the commissioner at the time, between the NPB and Major League Baseball, with Soriano trying to pull the same move as Nomo. And the Nomo, followed by the Soriano trying to get out of his contract there, led to them going, look, dude, we got to agree on some sort of posting system where the teams that find and acquire these talent, have these players, get compensated if you're taking players from that team, and that's the posting system. It's evolved, but that, like, there was none before those two guys. And I just thought it was so crazy that, yeah, Nomo, I get that. Starr came over. But Soriano, how random is that? I didn't even know that. That's fun. That's fun for me to find that random stuff. But there you go. So that's one of my rabbit holes. That's segment one. Let's outro some music on that one. Is that the organ?
No, that's.
I keep using that one. It's okay. I'm good with it. We can get to your baseball cards, but that's my. There we go.
There we go. Changed it up.
That's my random. But Soriano's a fun one to look at. If you look at his numbers, man, 400
He had like that
homers,
little
man.
hop thing, right? If I remember.
Man, he just got extension. You know, I feel like he'd been he would just go straight to extension. But I was like, he's susceptible to a change, but maybe not. A lot of bombs, a lot of homers for a middle infielder. They turned him into a left fielder, but look at his numbers, man. He's a 40 home run guy, so many years. Soriano, where are your numbers at? Register batting. Dude hit 51 home runs. I don't know if he's on the juice. Check this out. He hits rookie. It's 3. Basically, his first full season with the Yanks hits 34 homers. Next year he hits 51. Then he hits 36, 32, 43, 41, 42. It's like 3 years in a row over 40. Then he goes traded to the Cubs. And it wasn't even ballpark specific because Yankee Stadium's kind of a porch. But, I mean, he hit 40 in Texas. Then he hit 41 for the Washington Nationals. And then he hit 42 for the Cubs. Wrigley, I mean, get out of it. But then 27 for the Cubs, 25 for the Cubs, 40 for the Cubs, 27 for the Cubs, 33 for the... Dude, just racking up dingers. Then he finished his career with the Yankees. How about that? Soriano, 412 homers.
12 homers.
412 dingers.
4-1-2. I didn't expect him to have that many home runs.
That's so crazy. I know you don't think about Soriano.
Like I knew he was like good at like average wise and getting on base, but I didn't realize he had that much of a home run.
400 club. Like I don't know. Is he a Hall of Famer? Like that's insane.
I know there's always a debate about him, and there, I know steroids is thrown in there.
I don't know if he was in some kind of steroids report, but
there's all kinds of fucking chit chat.
So crazy. But yeah, Hiroshima Carp talent. Before he retired. I'm sorry, he retired at the age of 21 from the NPB. Craziness. So there you have it, buddy. Let's get on to your baseball cards segment. We're cruising right along. I have no idea if he was watching or if our stuff is still recording.
Well,
frankly,
I don't know if anybody's watching, but I don't really care because somebody will watch afterwards. They always do. So, what's up?
Just gotta call the hotline. You'll still be the first caller. Audition. Oh wait. Audition's still
I just
recorded.
need to like give that number to somebody I know. Like, look, when I text you,
call
this number.
Just call it in.
And be over the top with your personality.
Yep.
Hey man, I won't. That's why I like listening to the Paul Feinbaum show. It's like an SEC show. They talk about SEC football and other SEC related stuff. And you get those people that call in from the deep South, like Alabama is great. They're like, "What do you mean, Paul? Alabama ain't going nowhere."
Maybe that's the lead into the Mike Leach segment. What did you know about Leach?
I do remember he ran that high-powered offense at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And then he went to, I think, Washington State, and that's where he closed out, and that's where he unfortunately passed away at. But I remember he was a badass coach at Texas Tech. I mean, he did pretty well at Washington State, but yeah, Texas.
He was awesome.
Texas Tech is where I remember him the most from.
Leach is amazing because I feel very connected to Mike Leach. I mean, I talked to him for like a couple seconds after stalking him in the Atlanta airport, but because I went to Lubbock Christian, he was at Tech, right?
Right
so
there.
like you're kind of like, dude, this awesome air raid offense, and then being from Washington, I had like all my buddies went to Wazoo. They're all Cougs. They loved it.
That's what they call Washington State, Wazoo.
Yeah. So if you kind of look at the places that he's been, they are not. They're in a situation where they have to compete. Somebody sneaking in?
No, I'm just turning the light off.
Oh, turn the light off. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. He's been at programs where recruiting is right. You're difficult. Like you got to go against like University of Texas, Austin.
This looks better with the light off.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're out in Lubbock where just like rain's mud. It's windy. Like, how are you going to recruit a kid who's like, hey, you want to come to Austin and go to UT, or you want to go to Texas Tech? So he had like uphill recruiting battles, and that's why Wazoo, I think, liked him. Like, look what he did out in Lubbock in the Big 12. Pac-10 is like Pullman's the end of the earth. Nobody wants. I mean, it's beautiful out there, but like, it's how are you going to recruit some kid that's about to go to Pasadena and play for UCLA or Stanford or UW in Seattle? Like, it's a tough sell.
It's
So
like saying, hey, why go there? Come to, or like that's like, or also like Wyoming or something.
yeah, so it's and like the same thing, Starkville, Mississippi, and I've never been to Starkville, but you know, he went to these colleges that really have an uphill battle in recruiting and brought success everywhere he went, and was the nicest guy when I talked to him, made time for me, and I looked like a psychopath at the time.
He definitely has a personality, yes.
He's a super funny guy, and I saw him. He was on the phone, but I was going to my buddy's wedding, a Marine Corps wedding, and I'd been out of the Marine Corps for 3 or 4 years, so I was like, I could still fit in my uniform. And he goes, I want you to be in the sword arch, you know, where you like hold the sword, and then the bride groom walk underneath. And I go, oh man, I got long hair, dude. I got like a beard. Like I'm going to be out of reg with my facial hair and hair. He's like, nah, man, I really want you to be in the sword arch. I was like, all right, I'll shave all this off for you, but I'm going to do something weird with it, you know, for like a couple days before I shave it all off. So I shaved my head completely with the exception of like this patch on the back.
So how long was your hair at that point?
I mean, it's probably as long as it is now, but imagine I just
that's long to you.
Well, it's just, you know, like if I can, so that's long.
That's long to you, yeah.
But it was like this with a full beard. So I basically took a 0 and took everything off except for this patch, like I'm an Iroquois Indian or something, Native American. And then I shaved the beard so it was like a Ulysses S. Grant. You know?
Goose Gossage looking?
So I look like a psycho. I look like a full-on psychopath rolling through.
Like, hey, you might want to keep an eye on this guy. He might have a gun.
Yeah, rolling through the airport. I look like a psycho. I don't know.
You dropped your hand.
So I'm just stalking Leach. I see him. I was like, holy shit, that's Mike Leach. So I just follow him around. I'm like, don't get too close. He probably doesn't even notice me. And then finally gets off the phone after like an hour. I was like, hey, Coach Leach, I just want to say, because this was after he got hosed at Tech. I was like, hey, man, what happened at Tech was bogus. You're a great coach. He's like, oh, thanks, man. And he's a real talkative guy. I want to talk more, but I think he had to get on the plane. But I don't know, man. It's really sad. That's such a nice guy. Great coach. Just seems like he just made a lot of time for people.
Because there was this, I think it was like a post-game interview.
Rest in peace.
There was like this post-game interview earlier this year or something, and he was talking. He was like, he kept coughing. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to make that cough a thing about me. And then shortly, I guess, later on this year, he passed away. I'm like, maybe he was like legit sick and he didn't know it.
I don't know. I think he was dealing with some flu stuff this year. But
yeah, he said it was a heart condition that he passed away from, right? Something like that.
Yeah. But
complications of the heart.
But people, you know, like he was at a Christmas party a few days ago. So like people, like some kid at Mississippi State was like, man, he was at the Christmas party, spent all his time talking to me. He was the nicest guy ever. So
he definitely had the attitude of I don't give a shit. I'm going to say what I want to say.
His post game pressers were like, will never be. He's just
he has the same thing as like the coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick.
Oh, he's way funnier than Belichick, but he's kind of his matter-of-fact delivery.
He's funnier than him, yeah. But Bill Belichick's the same way, where he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he's just gonna say whatever.
But
I like coaches like that because I hate the coaches who are like so generic. You know, we just got beat by a better team. I hate those answers. Like, be honest. You know.
But man, sad day there. But let's bust down some cards and talk about this poll. I want to know the initial investment. Let me give you some bumper music.
How much I paid?
Yeah, the initial payment.
I paid less than $75. Like, it was a steal.
3 boxes, like $25 per box.
Yeah, there was 3 boxes. 2 of them was $25, and then one of them was like $20.
Go back
one of them still had the original Kmart sticker on it.
Kmart?
It had the original Kmart like tag. You know, back in the day, you would take the gun and just slap it on there. It had one of those.
It's that old. Still priced from 1989.
And back then, it was I think $30.
Oh, man, let's see the stack. Let's start going through these guys.
So, basically, each box held over 600 something cards, and I picked out my favorites. And of course, these are bias picks based on my, players. Let me pull them out. A lot of them are like the same player. They're just repeated, but
The Hiroshima Carpat took a dive. I'm gonna dig it out.
Don't get stuck under there because I've hit my head multiple times.
Yeah, watch me unplug everything as I mess with it.
And people's like, "Oh, they sound better now. You can't hear them." So the still for me, man, was this Dave Stieb card. You can't. I don't know if you can
is
see
greatness.
It, but for the Blue Jays, right? The stud.
Big Stieb fan. Dickie Thon Stieb fan is Dutch Chattahoochee.
Those are my dudes because they're just like baseball guys.
Baseball gods.
Steve was a great pitcher. Dickie Thon he wasn't like going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he held down a spot. He played baseball. He held a spot when he played.
Man, he was nasty. Did he get Steve won a couple Cy Youngs or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, he won. I'm sure he won a couple. He have had.
Probably did.
There was this interesting video I was watching on the hunt for Dave Steve because he was close to no hitters so many times, and he finally got one. I mean, he's like a Toronto legend, but it's weird that no one you don't never hear people talk about him a whole lot.
Except for the super big Steve fan. There's a pretty great Canadian baseball following on social media. They'll give you keeps up with Steves and anything Expos. Anybody who's ever played with the Expos.
Dude, in those boxes had so many Expo cards. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And it sucks they moved them, but what can you do?
Got to bring them back. I think they could support it now.
Towards the end of their run, it seems like the city of Montreal didn't give it. Not the city, but the owners didn't give a shit about Montreal anymore.
Yeah.
About the team. Can you do?
Well, they had the problem with the old stadiums of the 70s, and then you got, and I don't know how the government works in Quebec, but that's what you got to have. These teams, they are always threatening to move unless an Olympic stadium was way old. So,
yeah, it was a shithole.
And I don't know what happened to the ownership there because my understanding was at some point Major League Baseball straight up owned the Expos the last few years. I don't know how long they owned them for, but I think Major League Baseball owned them.
And they were so close so many times on the brink
that's
of
worth the research.
On the brink of
ownership.
World Series. I know the year that they probably would have went to World Series, but I can't remember what year it was. But the year they had the MLB shutdown because the players log out.
Yeah.
Whatever year that was, that was the year they could have went to the World Series. They had a stud of a team.
That was another thing about Nomo coming on. He was that was after he came in '95, and the '94 season was the biggest bummer ever because of the strike, and we missed the World Series that year. So.
That's when it was. I was just talking about. Yeah.
So it's like Nomo kind of was like a shot in the arm to baseball, giving some excitement. But I'm trying to think here. Man, I don't know if the players' strike and the team move decline. Finished last in '95. Attendance fell.
The Expos had Pedro at one point. They had Randy Johnson at one point.
Let's see. Low budget approach.
Is that why?
No, I'm trying to think. This guy Loria, he bought it. I think he
Loria,
Jeffrey Loria, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he eventually own the Marlins though?
Yeah.
I forget how that goes.
I think they won the World Series in '96 or whenever it was.
He's an art dealer and author.
It wasn't '96.
Former owner of the Expos and the Marlins. I was right, Jeffrey Loria.
When did they win their first World Series? What year was that? 2000 something, right? Probably.
92%. Loria. Let's see here. At some point, Loria sells it. But anyway, who you got over there? Well, I'm looking at this.
In my cards?
Yeah. So shortly afterward, Loria did sell the Expos to MLB. And then he used that money to buy the Florida Marlins from John Henry, who then purchased the Red Sox. Crazy. I'm trying to see what year that was. It was like 01 or something.
Yeah. And the Marlins won to win what?
Yep.
2 World Series? Right?
Yep. And they MLB formed like a limited partnership owning the Expos. So anyway, I digress. But you got some good stuff in there.
So this card's cool just because it's Ken Griffey Sr. for the Mariners.
You had some really good Griffies I saw. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, that's Ken Griffey Sr., his dad.
Yeah, senior on the Mariners because he only played like 2 years with the Mariners or something.
But I thought that was just cool. Like these are cards based on my personal preference of players. Deion Sanders for the Braves. I mean,
I love Deion.
I'm putting these up. You can't really see them, but I'm just talking. We're just talking about them. Of course, another Dave Steve card.
That is a Sanders. No, because he was with the Yankees in '90. The '90 was Sanders rookie.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty early on, I guess.
That's early on.
And another Dave Steve card because Dave's, and then King Griffey Jr. A couple of those.
Were those '92?
Yeah, these were from '92.
That's such a great card.
What was cool though was like Upper Deck. You don't see Upper Deck anymore in terms of like baseball cards.
I love that you have. Did we already show the Randy rookie?
Oh no! Here's another.
Some rookies.
Here's another card. King Griffey Sr. for the Reds.
Yeah, senior with the Reds. What a hitter!
Another King Griffey
Reds,
Sr.
Yankees. Only 2 years for the Braves for King Griffey Sr.
Like I have so many cards. I'm gonna bring more in and show you just because they're just like fucking cool. And then here's the '89 rookie Randy Johnson for the Expos.
'89 score Randy Johnson. It's a beautiful card.
And I had to have this one just because who it is, Oil Can Boyd.
Oil Can Boyd, but you got
the
Randy Johnson in the baby blue.
Yeah, those are the best uniforms ever.
Those baby blues.
You know, like it sucks because gracious. Like those and then the Houston Oilers baby blues, man. Those are the sweetest looking uniforms ever. That's something about baby blue and red, it just pops, right?
Yep.
And of course, Pedro Martinez for the Dodgers.
They don't do much baby blue stuff anymore when they need to.
So Pedro Martinez for the Dodgers.
Rookie with the Dodgers.
And of course, Dickie Thon. I had to have those. This one's I have one for the Phillies.
Probably top 10 mustache.
So yeah, Dickie Thon.
Top 5 mustache.
A Phillies Dickie Thon, a Rangers Dickie Thon, and a Padres Dickie Thon. I need a Houston one. And dude, of course, like I knew I would get these because when I started.
And for those you don't know, we found when we did our Dickie Thon show, like what kind of last name is Thon? Dude's Puerto Rican, man.
I know.
Puerto Rican legend.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And what was cool to me, and I knew when I got the cards, I started thinking 91. There's going to be a Mitch Williams Wild Thing for the Phillies.
Gotta have Wild Thing.
Because I had a Mitch Williams when he played for the
Rangers.
Yeah, I had that one.
Yep.
But then I started thinking, fuck, dude, there's going to be one in this 92 pack. So I got two of them. Wild Thing, Mitch Williams for the Phillies. Another badass pitcher. Another Dave Steve for the Phillies. Another Deion Sanders, King Griffey Jr. And, of course, the good old John Kruk, man.
Got the Krukster.
You had to have that.
Krukster, man.
Another Dickie Thon. And Fernando Valenzuela, dude. Of course, you had to have that.
Fernando Mania. You had Fernando Mania and then Nomo Mania.
But what was cool, too, about those decks, too, those cards, is a lot of those cards are, like, rookies. And, you like, the Randy Johnson one, like, at the time, no one knew, like, what he was going to become. Yeah. So it's fucking cool to see, like...
That's a great pull.
To see...
$75. You got some... a Randy Johnson rookie, like, how much is that? Like, 89
I don't know.
Score. I'm just going to see what it's going for.
It probably is not going for much. I don't really know. I don't really look up value of cards a whole lot.
I'm only looking right now.
But, I mean, to me personally, just have these cards as a baseball fan, it's fucking awesome.
It's so crazy. Here's one. One guy's trying to sell that card on eBay for $495.
Good luck.
Yeah, another dude's selling it for $39. So I don't know what it's worth.
I mean,
Here's one for $2.
You could sell it for $400. It's all about the buyer, all about, like, if he doesn't do research.
I'm dumb enough to buy more expensive stuff, so I don't know.
Well, if you don't do research and this is the first thing that pops up and you just think about, Randy Johnson, Hall of Famer, World Series winner, $400, seems right.
PSA graded. So they grade these cards now?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a $10 card. You got yourself basically a $10 card right there.
But to me,
at minimum.
I'm not going to sell it.
None of them are going cheaper than 10.
But yeah, because my wife was looking at some cards, and I look over in the case, and I've never looked in this case, and we go, by the way, this card store it's called Boomtown Cards. Boomtown something.
I like that.
That's
where you got it, Boomtown Cards?
I'm looking at the actual name. I know it's called Boomtown, but there's another. It's like there's a word after it. Yeah, it's called Boomtown Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Nice. And it's over in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, and it's off of Bandera.
Nice.
But dude, they have it's super cheap. So I was talking to the guy. I was like, I noticed that you had those for like a really good price, and I was just wondering. He's like, well, I'm here to sell stuff to people, and if I overprice it, no one's gonna buy it.
Man, going up Bandera is just a nightmare.
So I want that.
How far up Bandera are you guys?
We technically live in Leon Valley,
man.
But we're really close to right there by where you get on the 410.
Yeah.
the overpass.
Because like you know how there's an aquarium right there, and you just like
I
keep
live
going.
close to the aquarium
Yeah, yeah.
over there, so like pretty close.
I had to go to a birthday party on Sunday out there. We had to go up Bandera like 5 miles. You know how many stoplights that is?
Oh, you came
So
from the other
many.
way. Oh,
No, we went. Yeah, we exit and then go like northwest up Bandera.
Oh,
Road.
you came that way. Oh, that way. Yeah, by the HB right over there.
It'd take you another 20 minutes to get through those
Yeah,
lights. There's like a trampoline park up there.
But yeah, dude. So like, I live over there.
I love it.
Yeah, but Boomtown's awesome.
And you got a great hat too. Oh, I said like that's a 25-year like thing on the side of that one. Forget the Hiroshima Carp hat. This 25th season, 1977.
So like, I go to
2003.
yeah.
Look at
So I go to Lids, and I never look at like what new hats are.
You have,
so,
like, is there like a membership or something you get discounts by buying tons of? Because you like you
Yeah.
have the best hat collection I've ever seen.
I have
Forget
a
this,
membership.
dude. We just need to have your hat collection. You know?
One day you need to like, I need to show you like how many hats I have. I don't have like a shit ton as far as like people who like are hat heads,
Yeah.
but in terms of like normal people, I have. It's probably a lot to normal people. Like I probably have like 75 hats or so.
That's a ton. That's
like
awesome.
yeah,
though.
it's like hat heads have thousands, but you know,
What you gonna do?
I only select the best hats. You know what I mean? No, but yeah, it's. I saw the Toronto. I was like, I gotta have that hat.
Dutch Chattahoochee, the legend. That's good stuff, man. That's great.
We should
baseball
go to
content
Lids someday.
Right
We need to go take a trip to Lids together.
there. I know. I gotta slow down though. I got so much junk.
Oh, it's a hat. It's not junk, man. You can never have too many hats.
There were too many hats.
I will say that the original Missions logo hat you have up there, that's probably the coolest one.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That one fits
They-
the best.
they
That was the
unfortunately are
Pedro,
always-
Pedro years.
They're unfortunately always out when I go to the game, or they never have any in my size.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I want one so bad. But I got the black one, so I'm stoked on that.
I think my last. I mean, we could talk Kodai Senga and Masataka Yoshida before we lead into my last segment is Japanese related, but
We need to close it out when we talk about the move,
the move is coming.
because this is this might be our
Probably
last.
show in this studio.
Uh-huh.
It won't look like this maybe next time. We'll do it 2023. It could look very different. I'm not going to move the camera. Look at this. We interviewed Coach Perez. There's a good assistant coach we're going to get an interview with. But yeah, we're going to try to do it different. I might do it more
It's a lot bigger.
more talk show style. I have a desk at the house I can bring in. I'm acquiring some desks from Lavera. And we're
I
gonna
feel
get
like
it
we
all-
need to take that desk and drill a hole in the middle so we can run the cords through.
Yeah, there's like it's kind of like two desks we might be able to smash together, but anyway, the move is coming, and I don't really have anything. I'm just excited for the world to see Masataka Yoshida because I love his huge like uppercut swing, and he was a big hero in the Japan series with walk-off homers for the Oryx Buffaloes.
Another fake bot finally showed up. My hot photo here. I'm like, no thanks.
Got porn bots spamming and that's what happens. But
I just replied, no thank you.
and guten Tag, mein Freund, to any German listeners. I feel we have a massive following in Germany. Maybe
I think
as
we
high
had
as
one
one.
from Canada, right?
As high
At
as
some
one,
point, we had
yeah.
a Canadian one.
That could be my sister. Love you, sis.
What does she live again? Montreal,
Edmonton, great town.
Edmonton, huh?
Edmonton Oilers, great town. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know what happens if I look like leaning off the camera over this way, but those are the two big signings I see. Senga's went to the Mets. DeGrom came to us. This is like the hot stove section. Rangers are looking stout. Rangers are making a push. You got this Ivy League Chris Young, former Ranger pitcher, Princeton guy, stacking up talent down in Arlington, Texas. And then you got AL West is going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. You got the Astros. Rangers are going all out. Yeah, man, that's pretty good ball clubs right there. What else you got out there? You got the Mariners are in the postseason.
That was cool.
This year. So you got Mariners, and you got the Mariners. You got Stros, and then you got the Rangers going crazy with this town. You got Seager at short, Simeon at second. You got Leiter. You got both the Vandy guys. Just gas thrower, young arms. Got some players, man. Again, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. You get Jacob deGrom down there, so yep. But that's that one. But I want to talk about a dude. This is my last segment before I stop my flapping gums, because this is all about, for me, a lot of it's baseball history. And I'm very close now. I have to write my player profiles. I'm very close to getting my SABR certification. I've been working on that. I've been taking modules. I've been researching weird stats I've never heard.
Huh?
Yeah, just like Northwest Vista.
Yeah, I'm all that word modules, man. Check the modules.
Yeah, you're just checking these. You're learning about all these different stats. Now I have to do a write-up between two positional players. Which ones I think the best on all these advanced stats.
You have to talk about their history and everything too?
Well, it gives you a spreadsheet of their stats, and then you got to break down with the advanced sabermetric stats.
Seems tough.
Why player A is better than player B, or vice versa, in 750 words or less. And then you're given two pitchers, and then 750 words or less, you crunch their advanced stats and say why you think the general manager of your false organization should pick this player, and then you send those write-ups to SABR. There's a dude I follow on Twitter that's like running the class or whatever, and then they'll tell you how you did. Maybe you get SABR certified. But once I get SABR certified, I'm going to be insufferable on Twitter, because basically, right at that point, I'm a baseball god. I could tell everybody they're wrong. Like if Tom House wants to talk about mechanics, I was like, I'm sorry, I know everything there is to be known about baseball.
Look, I have this piece of paper, this certification.
I have the certification I got online, and I cannot be argued with. I'm basically right.
So could I technically tell people I know the baseball god?
Yeah, you can.
I know a baseball god.
Like, if you ever get in a baseball argument, it's like, well, let me. I was like, let me call Turnstile real quick. It was like, who's right or wrong? It's like, nope. Turnstile.
And you would probably pick up the phone even if it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, I will become basically the Kennesaw Mountain Landis. I'll become the last word in all of baseball when it comes to anything. Once I get the certification.
Are you going to become the guy that also applies those stats to like everything in life? Like, say we go get something to eat and you start busting those. Well, no, this is better for you to eat.
I don't even know if I'm going to do that. I feel like once I have that piece of paper, anything I say, you know? Like if I go, you know what? I honestly think
you should eat the macaroni and cheese based on the temperature that it's at now and how long it's been sitting out. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll be like, Corey Seager needs to eat more peanut butter jelly sandwiches, raise his average by at least 10 points. Technically, because I said it, that's now a fact. I think it's going to be something like that.
Huh.
It's just like that level of knowledge. I can apply it to anything, and I'm going to be right.
And there's going to be those people who are like, oh, you're stupid, and they go
other people with podcasts.
However, they say that, but then they go home and they start thinking, maybe he was right.
No, I am right. Once I get the certification, it's not even a question. I am right. And before, when I would get into baseball arguments with people, I would say stuff like, I hesitate to call you a dumbass. You know, I was like, I'm gonna bring it down, but like the safety on the machine gun's just off.
You're hesitant.
Like the safety's broken on the gun now. I was like, I can basically, anybody on Twitter who wants to baseball argue is like, you're a dumbass.
People's gonna be like, how's the podcast
I don't
going?
hesitate to call you like, you are a dumbass if you're arguing with me.
Because people will ask me how's the podcast going, all the baseball stuff. I'm like, ever since he got his goddamn certification for SABR, he's just a complete asshole about everything.
He's just
I can't do anything without him trying to break out some kind of stats on something.
And at that point, it becomes absolute fact that the universal DH is the most atrocious thing to ever happen in any professional sport. So, but I mean, that's kind of already establishment. What can I say?
You should get a shirt made that says MLB fuck you, universal DH.
Let's talk about Wally Yonamine. If I can pull, Wally Yonamine is hugely influential for people who don't know about him and the importance of the NPB and Major League Baseball relationship. And this, I'm going to give reference to Michael Street. Michael Street, and this is Baseball Prospectus. The name of the article I'm reading is called The Asian Equation, The Roots of the Posting System.
Sounds like a boy band from Asia, the Asian Equation.
And the British invasion, all that stuff. But The Asian Equation, The Roots of the Posting System. It talks a lot about Nomo, Ichiro. It talks about the Alfonso Soriano stuff. But what... in having players go back and forth, a guy by the name of Wally Yonamine, again, pronunciation is an issue, was not a Japanese guy coming to the States. He was an American who took the American style of baseball to the Japanese league, because the Japanese were introduced to baseball as early as like the 1890s or something. And you had like barnstorming. We covered some of the great Negro League greats who actually barnstormed before Babe Ruth, and a Texas guy at that. Let me make sure. I don't want to forget, because my Alzheimer's will kick in. Luling. He's from Luling, Texas. Legend by the name of Biz Mackey. Biz Mackey did.
He sounds so much like Biz Markie.
I know, it's so great. But he was he barnstormed to Japan before Babe Ruth, and him and all like the Negro League All-Stars were so awesome. Japanese players liked him so much that it kind of laid the groundwork for when Babe Ruth did his barnstorming tour. So like that sort of American dudes coming over there, but Japan was it appealed to their kind of like martial, strict culture that they have, and they wouldn't like break up double plays. You know, if they were going to sacrifice bunt, they'd show you right away, I'm going to sacrifice, you know, like here, and then they wouldn't even run it like, I'm just bunting it down, I'm sacrificing myself for the good of the team, walk off the field, and move the runners. So they were very, like, stylistically, the way the culture was a little bit the way the baseball plays. And Wally Yonamine comes along, and he is from Honolulu, Hawaii, so he's playing Hawaiian-style baseball. And let me tell you, Hawaiians can play some baseball. Another interesting thing about Wally Yonamine, and again, this is like the... I think it was like let me look at his stats, but Wally Yonamine was like 50s, 1950. Okay. So, and he's the first Asian American to play in the NFL, believe it or not. Crazy, right? This dude did everything.
Till Timmy Chang rolled up.
Yeah, he was the first San Francisco 49ers, where he became the first American Asian to play in the NFL, albeit briefly. Yonamine lacked power and a good arm, so instead of trying to make it in the American majors, he went, because he played for like the Pacific Coast League in Utah. Let me look at his numbers.
Timmy Chang was from Hawaii. I don't know why I thought he was from. Anyway, that's somebody.
Played in the NFL?
Yeah, he was a quarterback for Hawaii back in the day.
Okay.
Like in 2005, I think, class.
Okay.
That's right, yeah. I thought he was Asian, just his last name was Chang. It sounds, maybe his family is, I don't know.
But Yonamine played.
Anyway.
Pioneer League. Salt Lake City Pioneer League. He was but then his coach goes, "Nah, you should look for some other options," and so he does. He goes and plays in Japan, but he brings that aggressive, break up the double play, drag bunt if you can style, sometimes called the Jackie Robinson of Japan, because there was like this kind of like prejudice, post-war prejudice, anti-American prejudice, of course, in Japan. So Yonamine had the advantage. He was, Japanese heritage, but American from Hawaii, Japanese descent. So he made it as like this American playing in Japanese, the NPB, and he kind of revolutionized the game with his very aggressive, hard-nosed type of play. They used to like walk on and off the fields. He was always running off. He was bunting, sliding hard, all this stuff. And he was a great player over there. But because Yonamine played in this different style, he kind of forced the issue for all the other teams to adapt to his aggressiveness, and he kind of broke down the walls and the barriers of how the NPB played the game at that time. But the importance of that is once you start playing the game more similar to how we play it in the States, then your players are more prepared to go back and forth. If they were still playing their style, you wouldn't have like second baseman dudes coming over here in the posting system, because like they're not ready for this kind of aggressive game. So Wally Yonamine, very historical person in the baseball history sense, but an American playing in Japan. So that's kind of an interesting little piece of baseball history there. But I thought it was crazy. He's also the first Asian American in NFL. Played for the 49ers. He's like a running back, I think.
I can't think of any Asian players. Yeah. I don't know.
There's Nguyen, the linebacker from A&M. That dude was awesome.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, those guys were great. So,
because like when I was I was trying to think. I was like, I can't think of any.
Yeah, you don't even say the N in the name when it's the Nguyen. It's a Vietnamese name. It's just pronounced Win. But
yeah.
But he was awesome with A&M. He was great. But no, Yona Mine is some guy, a baseball player I've never heard of before. But I just am a big buff. And he was a running back. Yeah, he must have been wheels too. Let me look at stolen bases. But those are my segments. I'll run through. We'll do an outro on random stuff that I'm filling up your brain with. But it's when I rabbit hole. Research to show just rabbit holes. Like, I never heard of this guy. What's this guy's story? That's his story. Start looking at how the cross-pollination's been happening.
That's why sometimes, like, this is a random tangent, but like you're talking about like Asians in the NFL.
Yep.
So sometimes on my Madden game, you can like edit the rookies, and I'll make like Asians, right? I'll make a couple Asians. I'm like, there needs to be more.
There needs to be. I think, it's for everybody. It's diversity.
Like, obviously, like I'm not going to give him a stereotypical Asian name, so I just give him some random name. But like I'm like, there needs to be more Asian players. So I'll just make Asian dudes.
Yeah, but the stereotypes don't help us. If NPB and the MLB's taught us anything, anybody could do anything you put your mind to. That's for sure.
I wouldn't. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
So.
But I think baseball.
Like, there's even like I think the Ivy League football goes over. They play football in Japan.
Dude, I think baseball. Like a lot of people, some people that don't really pay attention. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a bunch of white dudes playing baseball. It's like, you clearly don't watch baseball, do you?
It's a global game.
It's definitely. I feel like it's bigger than other countries than it is here.
So, I mean. Yeah, baseball's the
like
biggest
in Mexico,
sport in Japan.
It's a lifestyle, dude. Like,
yeah, I got my physical for my life insurance the other day, and the guy giving me the physical was from Mexico City.
Oh shit!
And he's like, "What do you do?" Because he came up to the office. The life insurance people just like go where you go.
Like, what do you?
He's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I we do baseball stuff." And he's like, "I'm not that big into baseball." And I was like, "I educated a Mexican guy on the Mexican leagues." I was like, "Dude, it's awesome down there. You got baseball all the time. You gotta look for it."
It's a party, man. Your team could be winless, and they was like, "All right, hell yeah, let's go fucking party."
Well,
and they're disciplined. They know how to play it right.
Let me see what we got here. This is Auld Lang Syne. Here is this one. Where's the one with the organ?
This
one.
Is.
There it is. I don't know. That's kind of the show.
Like
I'll probably will ramble for another 10 minutes before we actually get out of here. But Wally Yonomine, Hideo Nomo, Hot Stove League. Things look good. I was watching a little bit of Lightem because I love the Dominican Winter League.
I'm on break from classes because
you're out of class.
Over. Just did all my finals on Thursday.
I'm trying to do childcare with the new baby.
How's that going?
Elle's picking up tons of slack, but I gotta get the other boys back and forth to school. This is the last week of school, and it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, next week they're gonna be out for.
That's why I got that skateboard stuff because I was like, dude, that's the only way I'm 47. I need to work on my ollie. I'm just breaking my wrists and elbows, but I was like, I gotta get the kids out of the house, so I'm always trying to get them to like play basketball or skate or scoot,
especially nowadays. A lot of kids, they literally just sit at the computer. They
wants to play Minecraft, man.
Their video games all day.
Teddy wants to go out. He's 18 months. He wants to go out, look around at trees and grass and stuff and roll around, but like Liam wants to play Minecraft. I was like, we gotta get out, man. But Merry Christmas to the Chattahoochee family, pal.
We got most of our shopping done, so that's good.
2023 is a big year.
So you get those people that wait till the last day, and it's like,
Yeah.
Especially when I was working at HEB, you get people that come in there Christmas Eve. You guys have any more of this? No, we don't.
Yeah, you gotta get. I got presents hiding back there. Gotta get the presents early.
I almost picked one of those up and almost took it home, but I was like, nah, it's not good.
Should I have the last donut hole?
Go for it. I'm not a big chocolate fan.
Yeah.
Wherever those came from, like whoever made them, they were solid. They were really good.
Duncan.
Duncan, huh?
I told the people in the office like we're moving, but they did us a Christmas party anyway, so I don't know. The building over, you gotta go one building over.
I was wondering, yeah, the one that's like right there, right where the people usually outside eating on their little table.
Yep.
I'm excited about this new office because it's really big and it's gonna really feel professional as fuck, right? Like fuck, dude.
It's nice. I'll tell you one thing.
I was telling my wife about it. I was like, hey, you should come check it out.
The way that office is, it has like little square windows. You know, about 8 feet up.
Yeah.
And because there's like this office and the wall separates the other one right on 410 frontage, there must be like 10 or 12 little squares that we have that face the freeway.
Marketing.
I was like, we should put our stuff up there so you can see it from the freeway. Then I looked at like different signs that are like kind of like flash and stuff, but I think there's actually statutes. You can't put a bunch of wacky signs next to the freeway that distract drivers unless you get approval.
That's bullshit because they put those billboards to say this is a distraction. Why put it up?
Well, yeah, they got.
Like, come on.
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna look into that. Oh, the other thing I just want to say, I signed us up for
Pilates.
Close.
Birdies
for Baseball. Birdies for Baseball is a fundraiser for UTSA baseball.
Oh,
and I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if we get like.
They said Bernie's. I'm like, who the hell is Bernie?
I don't know if we like. I'm probably so busy. I'm not gonna go out and play golf. But I think you'd like get to go out and play golf one day, and then our 3BGB logo with a QR code is sitting in the tee boxes for a couple of the holes, and then I think maybe we could have lunch with Coach Hallmark. I don't know. But I mainly just like want to support UTSA baseball, but get the name out there.
To be respectful.
Oh, we got a different one. My hot photo here, sexfinds.biz.
They're like, my hot photo here was like, no, thank you. There's like this character on SNL that Pete, what's his name? Pete
Davidson?
Yeah, dude. He has this character named Chad. So there was this skit where he was going to the moon. He was gonna, the oxygen thing was broken. He was gonna fix it. So before he went out there, because he could possibly die, the girl's like, oh, by the way, before you go, I'm pregnant. And your baby's like, no, thank you. And he gets inside the thing to go outside. He just shuts it. He's like, no, thank you. And so, like, I just saw that. Like, it's funny.
SNL's got some. I think SNL's always like when you look back at it 10 years later, you didn't realize what you had. I think there's some funny stuff going there.
I mean, I watch skits all the time. There's one I have to show you. It's like this Christmas song that they do every year. And it was just cracks. It's funny. I have to show it to you. You'll laugh. But on the side, what's his name? Tracy Morgan. He's just literally just standing there dancing like this the whole time.
Tracy Morgan, funny man.
Yeah, he's funny. But
support comedy, support UTSA.
They'll crack up.
As the year comes to an end, I just want to give thanks to Dutch Chattahoochee, Seguin River Monsters, all the players, too many to name, my wife, my kids, my family, and of course Mr. Nakatomi, who owns the new building we're going to. He's owned that one. He bought that one before this one.
He owns a lot of real estate around here.
He owns a lot of real estate across the globe. Who are we forgetting to thank? Our guests on here from UTSA, all the dudes that went out to Colorado with us. Baseball Rap Bros, Eric Sim, Luke Malone, Sammy, Slammin' Sammy Diaz, Dave Wilson, Christofek, Will Dembski.
You can't forget Jimmy the Great.
Jimmy Mi Corazon Campbell. What a supporter.
Let's call him Jimmy the Great.
Jimmy the Great. I like that. Jimmy the Great. It's like Alexander the Great. Jimmy the Great.
I'm sure there's somebody called Jimmy the Great out there, but
he's the one. But anybody that's even had anything to do with us, we appreciate it.
I will say shout out to Samantha, my wife. She listens to the show every week. Not like, when she can.
Miss Chattahoochee.
She's always like, doing school stuff.
Very supportive. I appreciate that. Yeah. You guys are busy. We're all busy. But Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, everybody.
And all the other holidays that are out there.
Until next time. We did pretty good this year, bud. We jacked out 30 flipping shows, some weird sketches.
I will say this, when we do our 1-year anniversary show.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Should do the truck stop.
I want to drink during that episode, but I gotta drive home that day, so I can't.
Oh man, you ever listen to the Ticket?
Yeah.
Remember they did the Ticket camp out?
That was at the Fan or something like that too.
The Ticket was great with they camp out and they all get hammered. And they just like had a
I want to do
live radio.
I want to do an episode so bad like that, but I'd have to be somewhere where I don't have to drive home.
Nah, we'll get you a driver.
Unless I did it from my house.
Yeah.
On Zoom or something. Because that episode that I recorded, that little 5-minute one I did that one time, I'd been drinking a little bit. Remember? I was talking about Seguin. I was like, a lot of other teams think, that they're better than Seguin. Fuck them.
Man. River Monsters the best
I feel
ownership.
Like Seguin,
best ownership, best players, great coaches.
What is it? The TCL? I feel like Seguin, this is their second year. I feel like it's a good year to get introduced to the playoffs.
Man, first year is 4 teams make the playoffs. There's only 5 teams. So you got a pretty good chance. But there's a lot of kinks to work out, man. Mike G and Scotty B, just unbelievable effort and the stuff they got done. So it's gonna be a little bit smoother this year, I think. I think we'll be smoother with the stream, especially with the sound. We've got some ATEM. We're looking at some camera options and maybe some graphic options for the players would be nice. But anyway, Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, everybody.
All the other holidays that people celebrate.
If you're melancholy and down, just try to find some baseball,
Happy
which I am
Kwanzaa.
sometimes. Just hang in there, man.
Happy Kwanzaa to the Kwanzans out there.
I don't know much about
That's not even a word,
Sounds
Kwanzaa,
awesome.
but I said it.
Sounds awesome. All right, brother. We'll outro it. We'll stop the stream. We'll fade out the music.
I'll go ahead and fade it out while you do your thing over there.
We'll just go to YouTube there. Nice, buddy. End that stream and then end audition. Oh, for the audition people, I'm going to give the phone number. That's what I'm going to do. If you are driving that truck cross country, 210-401-7394. You can leave a message any flipping time because it takes messages. Until next time, I'm T-Tex Tony Turnstile and my man, Dutch Chattahoochee. 3BGB, we
Until
out.
next time you see us, it'll be a brand new office
Whole
space.
new office space in here. Yep. Got that sound file. Great
right,
show in the can.
Let me show you this skit. They do it every year. Well, not every year, but they've done it quite a few times. It's called I Wish It Was Christmas Today. It's from SNL. It's fucking great. It's a classic. You'll crack up because I know it. Here it is. You're going to laugh. I just know it. Hold on. Let me do this. Not this part. I used to play violin too, actually.
It's crazy.
It's fucking great.
He's old.
Yeah. It's like 2000, I think it is. I love Jimmy Fallon. He's funny. It's fucking great. I really hope they do it this year. I really do. Chris Kattan, dude, with his he's just like this. The random animal noises. That's just great. I sat there one night and watched, like, I'll sit there sometimes at night and just watch SNL skits for like hours.
That is great, buddy. I love that kind of shit. I love that kind of shit. Although, I got a feeling we're not moving Friday.
Why's that?
All the movers. Well, Lavera says the floor's not done over there.
Oh, shit.
So she's like, dude.
So then, should we wait till Friday to pack everything up?
Yeah, I told Lavera we might swing by.
Because if you want, I can come over Friday and then we can pack everything up.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just let me know like what day you want to pack stuff up. Just like send me a text. That way I can come over and help you put all this stuff away. You know?
We'll see what Lavera's seeing on the floor, but she says they're like doing prep work today. Like if there's no floor down, we don't want to pack up a bunch of shit on top of them. You know, stuff we're gonna have to fucking move anyway. So,
Come back. You say you're going over video of the tour, the last of this. I'll get my camera. We'll do a little. I'll walk up to the door, open it, and then we'll start playing. This is the studio where all the classic amazing content you see on the internet. This is where it's made. I once fell asleep drunk over there because I couldn't drive home. If I would have been drunk, I would have came over here and like, I'm gonna sleep on the couch. Oh, but these are the cards. Are these the ones that you're talking about that were coming, or are these are the other ones that you've had?
No, we had those last year. These are the boxes I was going to use for like drug deal sketches. Let's see what this sounds like.
Tom Hansen. And I bought some more. I bought a couple packs of paninis yesterday too. Man, I got some good ones. I'll say that, some good ones. You know what I mean?
All right, let's.
SNL, like.
I mean, you could one for $2.
People talk about the good days of SNL.
That sounds great.
All about like if he doesn't do research.
People always talk about the good days of SNL, but sometimes I go back and watch some of the skits from like the 70s and 80s. I'm like, these aren't even that funny. Like, the fuck.
Audition is recording. I do see sound.
But every era has its fucking moments. You know?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3DG
I have a
episode
memory card
30, in which, if you're not familiar with the show, we just talk out of our aces and mess with sound. And I found, like, honestly, our numbers on YouTube are pretty random. I think when we have, if we have like bad sound out of the game, people just like, I'm not even gonna, they just click right off, you know. So if you want to open up some YouTubers.
I think for Christmas, though, I get more excited about my wife opening up the gifts for me than I do about
Yeah.
for Christmas. I just don't get a whole lot about Christmas. But
Export. Multi-track mix down, entire session.
what are you getting your wife for Christmas?
I don't know, probably jewelry.
Fancy.
Mix down, 3BG.
Because like people always ask me like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, there's really nothing.
I just say baseball shit. Like my sister got me that awesome Shohei Ohtani thing, and I got this fucking Hiroshima carp hat, and you fucking name it.
I do think that's pretty cool though, actually. That jersey and that hat.
Yeah, it's fucking great. You know what I realized? I was like, I don't wear jerseys that much, but you know what I'm gonna wear my jerseys all the time? Is skating. It's like
Always.
a badass when you're skating. You can throw on like a fucking cheap ass stainless steel chain.
You can be Chad Muska.
Yeah. You can do fucking this guy out of here. Oops.
What's up?
Black magic is awesome. Just set up on the tripod here.
What are you doing with that?
I'll just sit them on the couch there. Put the lens cap back on it. And just kind of show.
Should have told that dude, yeah, we use that Black Camera Magic because we're sponsored by Black Magic.
Yep.
They gave us all the money, dude.
Alright, let's see if the multi-track mix down. Let's go to YouTube real quick.